Greetings, this is Andrew Baker from Brainwave Consulting Company. Okay, so here you are, a savvy small business owner. You're looking for to get the right tools in place. You started putting some monitoring and you find out, hey, I have this need. I have this technology need. Whatever that need is, I need to do security event management. I need to put in file integrity monitoring. I need to put in an extensive endpoint protection. I need to do something sophisticated with my VPN. Whatever it is, you have a need now in the technology and or cybersecurity data privacy space, and you want to know how to proceed. Now you can take a lot of time. The big guys will usually go through rounds of bring in a bunch of vendors, have them do their presentations and their pitches, go through a series of PowerPoints, do some pilot testing, do a bake-off. You can do that. Or you can try an entirely different strategy, which I have used to good effect in a number of different organizations, both as an employee and as a consultant. What you do is you put together, you implement, you deploy either an open source solution or a lower tier commercial solution. Okay, but don't spend a lot of money on it. Don't spend a lot of money. Don't go for fancy stuff. Just go for something that will at least hit the 2 or 3 key points that this technology is supposed to be able to address. You put it in, you get it in there. You should be able to do that whole deployment from start to finish in a month. I mean, you're a small business, so we're not talking, dozens of offices and multi-location. You get this thing rolling, and you have someone looking at it, and you start to pay attention to how is it to manage? What kind of reports can I get from it? How do we maintain it on a regular basis? Does it handle patches well? Does it, is it disruptive to the environment? You do all of those things. And the idea is you're going to spend a little bit of money. You're going to try and make this thing last for at least a year, preferably 2. And the reason you're doing it this way is because you never really understand how these things are going to work until you have them in your environment. Okay, it doesn't matter. The vendor can give you all of the best use cases. Here are my reference companies. They can give you all of that. But your industry, your business operation style, your corporate culture, all of those things have a bearing on how things are going to work in your environment, your location, and the way that you do business. And so what it's important for you to do is to get something in the environment, start to get some benefits as quickly as you can, and then start to understand what the usage pattern is. Where are the pain points? Are there pain points? Are there other things that you need to solve now? That it would have made more sense to get a product with 10 features rather than the one with only 5. Do you realize that 2 of the features that they sold you on aren't that important to your environment, but this other one is? All of those things are good to find out when you've spent a small amount of money and when your deployment time has been in days or weeks. Not when you spent a ton of money and your deployment time is in months or, the better part of a year. And so when it's time now to speak to more mature or next tier vendors, you're in a much better position to ask questions that are pertinent to your environment and to make that and to understand whether that value proposition is actually there or if it's just all smoke and mirrors. Because there's a lot of things vendors will tell you that work under pristine and ideal conditions, but not in the real world that you have to contend with. All right. So make sure when you're going to do a deployment that first time in a new category, right? You're going to roll out something that you haven't rolled out before. Go for not El Cheapo, but go for a low cost, relatively straightforward to implement solution. There are things you're always going to have to think about. The first time you decide to get into a certain level of a certain tier of firewalls, you really have to plan that out. You really have to go for the right product at the right time. But that's also a mature industry and less likely to give you the kinds of concerns here. But the first time you're getting into something that is new and different, application monitoring, whatever it is, whatever that type of technology is, make sure you go into it spending the least amount of money possible, getting it in as fast as possible, and learning from it so that when you're ready to spend good money, that you actually have really good questions you can ask and ways of holding the vendor's feet to the fire that you can leverage the various POCs that you might do, the proof of concepts that you might do. You can leverage them better because you know what your existing solution does and versus what the vendor claims might be. Okay, so that's another strategy to help small business owners get the most out of their money, get the most out of their time. A lot of times you'll put something in and it won't be perfect, but it's better than nothing. And so you're going to leave it there for maybe that full 2 years while you properly budget and properly plan out that next level of deployment. And you haven't wasted all your time and you're not missing out on the value that this tool brings in the first place. Thank you for your time. We'll speak again.